Prologue. Hey, I'm here. Over here. No, me. Look at me. A wave of cream washed over me, as if I were standing in the fourth row at a pop star concert, and I recall it automatically. The plastic bottle I was holding slipping from my grasp, but I cannot move to pick it up. A crowd of women pressed forward, dresses to kill, fluttering like butterflies around a beautiful flower. Wasn't this supposed to be a plain old convenience store? I looked around. As I did, I rewound my mental tape and thought back on how I had come to be here. It all started when I got my driver's license and I bought a second-hand compact car. It was a boxy black microphone. I called it Pipini. Pipini was a pet name I had been holding on to, a special something that I know I'd call my car once I finally had it. I had been trying for a car of my own and dreaming forever about taking myself for a drive, which you could probably guess from the fact that I had the name for my car ready and waiting. On the first holiday after I bought the car, a perfect sunny day right in the middle of the Golden Week holidays, I left my house in a high spirit, ready to make my dreams come true. I decided that for my first drive, I'd go solo, I'd play my own tunes, go where I wanted, free as a bird without worrying about anyone. I heard out of Kumamoto and probably decided to hop on the expressway heading north toward Fukuoka. I thought I'd go shopping in Hakata and then swing by Daizabu Temegushiren on the way home. They have fresh plum blossom cakes there, and I could get some. I was happy as calm and getting close to Hakata when I pulled into the Kiyama parking area for a rest stop. Then, before I know it, everything changed, and I was ready to explode. I had texted a friend before heading out, and the reply had arrived. So, you're probably going to Hakata, right? Kyushu people all head to Hakata at the drop of a hat. It's like a joke. All I had written was that I was going to have fun driving today, but he was obviously mocking me. If it hadn't been my own phone, I would have smashed it on the ground. You're just jealous because you're still stuck with your learning permit. I began to type an angry reply, sputtering and cursing. But then I stopped. It was true, I had been heading to Hakata. But now it was the last place in the world I could go. He'd make twice as much fun of me. Damn! I should not have been in such a rush to send the text. Now I have to pick a new destination. Groaning, I pored over the map on my phone. As I was searching the map and racking my brain about where to go, my fingertips grasped a location. Mojiko. It was a place I'd heard of. I thought it was a fairly well-known tourist destination, but I'd never been there. It had an area called the Retro District, and the streets were supposed to be lovely. What else? I couldn't remember, but after thinking about it a little, I decided it was my new destination. At times like this, you have to follow your heart. 2 hours later, I was giving my heart a nice round of applause. Having arrived in Mojika without accident, a durable retro building by the glittering sea, the sound of rich south rolling by, I heard a lively voice, and as I turned, a man hawking bananas called out to me. The bananas, a perfect bright yellow, shone as if they had absorbed all the sunlight streaming down on them. It's awesome here, I thought. I'd love to take a walk with a boyfriend here someday. If I ever have one. Or maybe even just a lame friend who's still stuck with her learning format. Every day I turned, I found something fun, so I just wandered around, totally absorbed. My had barely begun, but it felt like a perfect summer day. I had another local specialty for dinner, baked curry au gratin, and afterwards I feel like having some tea. I noticed a convenience store nearby, so I went in. Whenever I go somewhere new, I can't help thinking what strange place convenience stores are. No matter the town, you just have to step inside and the space transforms into something nostalgic, full of family comfort. Even if it was just the same product lines up in the same aisles of the same interior. Somehow it gives you a sense of security. My high spirit coming just a little bit. I pull a plastic bottle of my favorite brand of green tea from the beverage station. I head toward the register, and there, out before me, was a sight that I've never seen before at any convenience store. A group of women were crowded around the checkout counter, ticket out in synchronized clothes that I wondered if they were on their way to a dance. There was a man at the counter, and they all seemed crazy about him. Maybe he was the clique? He was wearing that kind of uniform in pastel pink and light brown, so I was pretty sure. But he was so ridiculously attractive, it was hard to believe he was a clique. And he was radiating what could only be called, say, sapphire. Were they shooting a movie or something? I had heard Kitakyushu was famous for his great film locations. I looked around, but there was nothing resembling a film crew. The male clerk smiled softly. "Thank you as always," he said to one customer. "Ah, there's something different about you today, isn't there?" "Oh, Mr. Siba, you noticed, didn't you? I changed my lipstick." "Yes, of course. You look cuter than ever thanks to those cherry colored lips, I have to say. Mr. Siba, look at me too. I changed my nails today. Look, look. What do you think?" "Ah, Miss Yuko, it's true. They look like jelly beans. Good enough to eat." He smiled sweetly. The clamor echoing through the store was loud enough that I wanted to cover my ears. Were they mobbing a pop star? What had I stumbled into and why? All I remember was stepping into a regular convenience store. I was starting to wonder if my mind was playing trick on me. Miss, I can help you over here." I heard a flat voice and came to my sense. What the alien abduction offer. Then I picked up the plastic bottle, which was lying by my feet, and when I looked up, there was a man at the auto register looking my way. It must have been him calling me. He looked around the same age as me, so he was probably a college student, working part-time. I don't want to be rude, but compared to other men, his face was dull and ordinary. If he were in a TV show, he would be an extra. In a sort of trance, I stepped up to register, so the click, his name tag read Hirose, could ring me up my purchase. But all the while, the white scene was playing out right next to us. I was insane. I had to know what was going on. I turned to Hirose, who was working his register expeditiously, and asked in a low voice, is that photo shoot or something?" He started to look. Then his face got sort of philosophical, as if he had resigned himself to something. "Nope, it's nothing like that. It's happened every day here." "Every day?" Hirose gave a small nod, put a pen sticker on the bottle, and hit me my chins. bottle in hand, I took another look at the seat next to us. The woman had seemed friendly enough at first, but now the atmosphere had started to turn hostile. The woman with the jelly bean's fingernail had held them to the manager's mouth, saying, "Go ahead, test them." And someone else had told her, sharply, that she was behaving shamelessly. "Please, don't fight. I want to see you all smiling." The men looked troubled, and the woman tried to smile. But the more they tried to compose themselves and outsmile each other, the swifter they looked. Of course, I see this kind of standoff between classmates, but was this the norm here? I looked at Hirose questioningly, and his silence nodded. "Seriously?" I feel like I wanted to hang out a little longer as a spectator, but it was getting late. If I didn't hit for Kumamoto soon, it would be midnight by the time I go home. Reluctantly, I pulled myself away from the checkout toward the automatic door at the front of the shop. "Thank you for coming." As I stepped outside, a voice that wasn't Hirose came floating from behind after me, and I glanced back. That male clerk was looking my way and smiling. His gaze seemed to care neither hidden deep under the skin of my back, and a shiver ran down my spine. I dropped the plastic bottle again, and it started to roll. Flustered, I chased it to the middle of the car park and hurriedly gathered it up. When I looked up, he was still watching me, his full lips curving in a gentle R. My heart skipped a beat. "Please come again." Just as the quiet but assured voice reached me, the automatic door closed again. As if to spare us, I stood motionless in the middle of the car park. Should I go back inside? Somehow I had the feeling that to enter again would be like falling into bottomless pit. What should I do? The automatic door slid open again, startling me. "Hey, now! If you're going to fight, it's time to go home." Sat in the shop where the same ladies from before stood along by fires. Muscular old man who looked sort of like a Dharma doll. He was dressed shaggily, in a white tank top and a bright red overalls. All in all, it was a pretty bizarre look. "Buy what you're buying, then it's time to go. Got it?" said the old man loudly. He looked at the woman menacingly, as if he might just gobble each of them up, and they screamed, scattered, and ran off. He snickered as he watched them go, and then our eyes met. "And you?" he said. Eyebrows raised, apparently thinking I was one of the ladies. "Go home," he growled. I'm going." What sort of place was this convenience store? First, I was lured in by a gorgeous clique, then chased away by the demon of an old man. I was totally lost. I turned tail and ran for it with all my might, toward where I had left Pipini in the car park. But as I ran, I found myself already thinking about when I would come back. "Please come again," he had said. I wanted to see that smiling face again. I wanted to get to the bottom of that smile. As I sped through the Mojiko port, I worry about the sea of love that seems to have washed over me. Chapter 1. My companion is your companion. Mitsuri Nakao was living a full life. She married her college sweetheart 17 years ago, and with her son, a high school student, they were a family of 3. She worried a little about her son. He was in a rebellious phase, but otherwise she had care in the world. She got along with her husband. Her in-laws lived in neighboring prefecture, close but not too close. and her own parents were in good health as well. She and her husband had purchased a single-family home 11 years ago, which was modest but comfortable, and they were regularly with the monthly payment. A few years ago, she took on a part-time job at a local convenience store to supply their income, and it was all going well there. Actually, it had been going much better than well. The benefit there far outstripping the salary. Anyway, for now, let's just say that Mr. Nako was living a full life. I see the lineup is changing next month, announced Nomiya, Mystery part-time colleague, as he peered at the digital table in her hand. She was busy restocking. Cold soba noodles and chili Chinese ramen. Oh, I get it there as the salmon items. It's almost July, she replied. Came on fast, didn't it? Tenderness has the best ramen of all the convenience store, said Nomiya. It's got a fantastic balance of flavor and texture, although the portions are on the delicate side, so I have to have two. Nomiya was a first-year student at Kyushu Korechi University. He started part-time at Tenderness when he enrolled. He used to be on the wrestler team, so his body was bulking with muscle. And so the store issued him an oversized uniform. His chest and shoulder always seemed about to burst through it. Apparently, he had won on and off tournaments during high school. Kyushu Koritsu team was a really powerhouse, but Nomiya gave it up when he left high school and would not say why. Mitsuri, for her part, didn't feel the need to bother him about it. She turned to Nomiya. I'm surprised. I'd have thought your regular goal would be beef bowl with summer vegetables. For young men, the beef bowl was the big winner on the summer menu. The charcoal grilled beef and colorful array of vegetables were appealing to the eye, and it had more rice than the regular bento box lunch, so it was very satisfying. Nope, this one's special. But yeah, the rice at Tenderness is so really good. The white rice. Well, that's because we take a lot of care with this. Bento, dessert, all the food, really. Mystery tapped confidently at the numbers of her handless screen as she replied. She had been working at the Golden Villa Tenderness branch in Mojiko for 4 years now, and had a good sense for how every product there would sell. Tenderness was a convenience store chain that operating only in Kyushu. Their motto was, caring for people, caring for you. And as far as convenience chains went, they were second to none. The Golden Villa Tenderness branch was about halfway down Osakamachi Avenue in Mojiko, the harbor district of the city of Kitakyushu. On the ground floor of the Golden Villa apartment building. It was located in a quiet neighborhood, sailing remote from the station house and former Misui Social Club in the sightseeing area of the old port town, famous for its retro architecture. Patrons tend to be local more often than tourists. A gentle music box melody drifts through the store when the automatic doors slide open and shut, signaling the arrival of a customer. The two of them turned their head towards the door, just as an old man in a white tank top and a bright red overalls came in. It would still be a while before the rainy season was officially over, but the man was dressed for a hot summer. He sported a beard that imbued his face, had a bald head, and there was a sharp glint in his eyes. The arms jutting out of his tank top were broad and muscular. He was tall, and his eyes swept the shop interior with an intimidating glare. But when he spotted Mystery and her colleague, his demeanor brightened, and he patted each one gently on the head. "Hello, hello," he said. "You're looking sweet as always, Mystery." "Good morning, Shohei," she replied. How are things in town? Look to me like a lot of tour group in from China today. They said they're visiting the area around the station and then off to Kyoto via the Kanmon ferry. Shohei Omida was a local celebrity. He pedals all over town with a stack of homemade sightseeing map of Mojiko in the rack of his bright red cargo bike. He looked intimidating, even scary. But because of his unconventional appearance and unexpectedly friendly demeanor, the local children were all fond of him and called him Old Red. They asked me if I was an actor, he said with a pride. Well now, I've been mistaken for a movie star more than once in my life. I can't help that. If Mitsuri had to say, she actually thought that with his bald head, beard, and fierce gaze, he looked more like Bodhidharma, the famously cracky ancient Zen priest. So much so, in fact, that one could be forgiven for thinking the historical character has been reincarnated right here in Mojiko. They all wanted to take a picture with me. I was morbid, and I ran out of map. Now I've got to go home and print some more. Shohei clothes like a movie villain, which was just everyday behavior for him. So that's it for today, patrol, he said apologetically. Shohei was the self-proclaimed tourist ambassador for Mojiko, and a self-appointed guardian angel as well, maintaining peace in the neighborhood. While he was pedaling around, handing out his tourist maps, he often stopped by the store when he needs a break. Nothing to worry about here, Shohei, Mitsuri said, laughing. The store manager is off today. Oh, is he? Shohei replied, his face brightening. It's quiet when he is away? Exactly, so we're okay. In the case, I'll head home with no worries. Well, see you. With a note of satisfaction, Shohei hops on his cargo bike and off he rode. Take care, Shohei, Nomiya called after him with feeling. Shohei was a dynamo, always bursting with energy, perhaps because he rode his cargo bike day in day out, no matter the weather. People said he was well over 18, but his skin had a radiating glow to it, and when he pedaled past on his cargo bike there was not a hint of weakness in those leg muscles. When I grow old, I'd like to be rook like that, she thought. Chapter 2: The Convenience Store Coffee of Hope. Yoshiro Kiriyama was 80% egg sandwiches and coffee, to be Percy, special fluffy egg sandwiches and premium coffee. Both were popular offering at the Tenderness convenience store chain. Yoshiro worked at Ajuku, an after-school test prep academy. It was in Nozomi-gaoka, to the southwest, so he took the train. But before heading out, he always stopped for a late lunch at Tenderness. He bought the same thing every time, and at the same branch, the Golden Villa Tenderness in Mojiko, about halfway down Osakamachi Avenue. It was a little out of the way from Yoshiro's room at the Seabreeze Villa Apartments, but he was a regular customer there. It was just past 1:30 p.m., and the last time rush has begun to subside. The automatic door slid smoothly open, and Yoshiro heard the familiar melody play as he stepped inside. His whole body relaxed as the cool air flowed over his sweet skin. The theme song of a rich TV drama played quickly in the background, and Yoshiro went straight to the registration food section. There were rice bowls, pasta, and vast assortment of the other foods in the case. But without hesitation, he picked up an egg sandwich and examined the color of the eggs and bread. Yes, good again today. As always, She selected a 2-pack of sandwiches and headed to the register. The clerk was waiting there, a regular-sized coffee cup already in her hand. He'd seen her before, a woman in her 30s with a name tag that read Nakao. Nakao took the sandwiches and entered the item on the register with a practiced hand. Watching her calm face, Yoshiro wondered idle what she thought of him. By chance, he had turned on the TV the previous day, and they were talking about how store clerks would give nicknames to the customer who made a strong impression on them, like Red Tea for the one who always wears the same t-shirt, or 39 for the one who never says anything except the number of cigarette packs he wants from the rack behind the counter. They might have a name for me, he thought. Whenever I'm here, I get the egg sandwich and coffee. Something like breakfast combo? Or maybe something simple like space? Yoshiro paid the bill and Nakao put the sandwich in a bag and handed it to him, along with the empty coffee cup. Usually, at this point, she would say, "Thank you very much," but today, instead, she cleared her throat and said, "Excuse me?" Yes? What is it?" There was no way she could have known what he was thinking, but he was a little embarrassed. Anyway, for some reason, and his voice cracked slightly as he spoke. Nakao flashed him a gentle smile and handed him a sheet of paper. "We're getting new coffee machine next week. This is the announcement flyer." Yoshiro looks at the paper. His eyes widened. "Ah, you know them, don't you?" Nakao said happily. "Satika Coffee is supervising the whole operation. Isn't it amazing?" "But that's... wow!" Satika Coffee was hidden gem in Hakata, a bustling district in Fukuoka on Kyushu northwest coast. Every serious coffee lover knows it. The proprietor was a coffee master, having achieved intensive training at the well-known Cafe Greco in Italy, and he was particular about his brew. He purchased the beans at the place of origin, roasted them locally on site, and produced a special blend that was strong on the palate with a spicy finish. The trend lately was toward fresh, acidic coffees with fruit notes, but Satika Coffee continued to offer the more traditional dark roast, and discovering customers would travel from far and wide just to enjoy their brew. Yoshiro too held strong opinion about coffee, and the crowded fields Satika Coffee premium blends made for a superior cup. He thought there was nothing in the world quite as wonderful as time spent eating and warm egg sandwiches with a cup of Satika Coffee's premium blend in the old shop, a wonderfully present relic of the early 20th century in the Showa modern style. He continued, "That's a real shock. You got approval from the master himself?" In the center of the flyer, he recognized the stern, venerable face of the old coffee master. The man was said to take great pride in the Satika Coffee name. He had received a number of offers from companies who wanted to mass market his product, but he had never before agreed to such a thing. "I just cannot believe it. How in the world did this happen?" It seems Niseko pursued him, somehow. That's our counselor," Nakao said in a meaningful tone, safely a giggle. Nakao usually handled customers calmly, in a manner befitting her age, but now and again her girly side would emerge. Chasing a glimpse of innocent smile, Yoshiro let out a noise of surprise. "They make really great coffee, don't they?" Nakao said, "I'm looking forward to this myself." "They're famous, but why?" Abruptly, Yoshiro thrust the flyer back at her. Nakao said, eyes widening in surprise, and Yoshiro began to speak at rapid-fire speed. "Look, it's you that the master there make delicate changes every day to the roast and the brewing time. Folk who don't appreciate the depth of flavor say it too bitter, or whenever, but it's just like he just stepping on that roast for a long time. It's a simple process. If they tried to get a machine to serve something like that, his longtime fans would be up in arms. People would say Sajika coffees are sold out. Why would he choose to do something like that? Does it affect the reputation of such a prestigious store? I'm a fan myself, you know, and I think it's a really shame. Knuckles' round eyes blinking rapidly. Seeing her confusion, Yoshiro came to his senses and cast his monologue. Rubbing his head with a little embarrassment, he's offering an awkward apology. Sorry about that. Maybe I like it too much. So I just kind of worked up. Knuckles' kind face shifted to a pleasant smile as he ate brightly. But I'm sure our version will taste great, so please give it a try when it's become available. In the face of her unfailingly professional attitude, Yoshiro became embarrassed. He had let his emotions get the better of him. Sorry. He croaked weakly one more time, then left the register and proceeded to the coffee station. He set the cup in its place and waiting for the machine to do its work. A little song played to let him know when the coffee was ready. He was about to reach for a plastic lid from the seat nearby when someone pressed one into his hand. He turns in surprise, and there, holding the lid, was a man with a smooth look, standing a little too close to Yoshiro and peering into his eyes. Chapter 3. A Melancholy Strawberry Parfait. The high-pitched shriek from the garden was unmistakable. No, no, no! I'm just about to have it. Your father, he doesn't get it all. They won't grow like this. Michiyo's voice was growing more heated by the moment. So with a sigh, Azusa closed her book and stuck her head out to the patio door. What's the matter, mother? Oh, Azusa, listen to me. Yesterday, your father wanted to help in the garden, right? So I asked him to play the beans, but he being so careless. Michiyo wore a pink gardening smock, and the round face under a white brimmed straw had become even rounder as she pointed. Look, she said, pointing with the tip of her towels toward her carefully tenderness golden plot. The plot was neatly divided into sections for flowers, vegetables, and herbs. Michio was pointing at the herbs. It looked like there was a great variety placed there, but Azusa could not tell one from another. Look as she might, she had no idea what was wrong. Careless, you said? Did he forget to cover them with dirt or something? Azusa didn't see any exposed words, but she could not think of any other reason. Michio raised her volume as if she had entirely lost her panties and said, It's about compatibility, of course. Isn't it obvious? I told you about compatibility in herbs. Didn't I, Azusa? Just look at the positioning of the lemon balm and rosemary here. It's just like your father. He says, Leave it to me, I'll take care of it. But what was he thinking? Michi was talking as if he could not believe her eyes, but Azuha still didn't see the problem. She was about to ask again, but she thought better of it and stopped. It would just fan the flame of her mother fury. When Michio's horticultural pursuits were treated lightly, her anger could flare up instantly. Without warning, spark flew in the direction, and Azusa had been the victim of second-hand burns this way more than once in the past. But she had to say something. That's a total mess. It really sucks, doesn't it? Then she flew to her room. Azuha flopped down on her bed and took up her phone. As she lay there on the bed, she tried searching for herbs compatibility on her phone. It's about preferring growing condition, maybe? Apparently herbs have preference. They like different conditioning, dry or damp, sunny or shady. And if you place things with different preferences together, they might wither or fail to grow properly. Right? Of course, so that was it. Azusa kept scoring aimlessly, then paused. Wow, Min is intense. She had lens on a feather tilter, dangerous herbs. Means it's a herb that grows with existing vigor. It can cause great trouble when placed together with other species. If not controlled properly, it may overrun neighboring herbs, leaving only mint in the pot. Moreover, when planted in the ground, its rhizome spread densely, rapidly expanding its breeding area. She murmured to himself, and jumped to a different side. There was a dramatic story about how someone had planted mint in their garden. It had overrun the gardeners next door and caused trouble in their neighborhood. It was known, somehow, that while mint had amazing benefits, including possible use as an insect repelling, antibiotic, and anti-inflammatory, it was also a difficult plant to manage. When Azuha pictured mint in her mind's eye, she imagined it perched daintily atop a slice of cake, or else on a bowl of ice cream. It was a leaf with an uncertain, breezy flavor that completely cleared her palate. Also, her toothpaste tastes like dry mint. It made sense to her that with a person like that, it would also have a strong leaf force. Azusa exited the browser and returned to the lock screen on her phone. The image there was a photo of Azuha striking a pose in a fort of a tulip fields, together with another girl, the two of them leaning cozily in towards each other. She gazed at the pretty face next to hers. It's a little like Mizuki. Mizuki Murai did everything properly. Nothing she said was ever wrong, and sometimes she even conquered the teacher. Her grades were always at the top of the class, and she was the star of the volleyball teams. Every semester she was assigned some important role at school. She was a center figure in the class. Whether it was the annual talent show, the music recital, or some other events, everything always went well, so long as they did what she said. So everyone defends to her. Mizuki wielded immense influence over the top class in the middle school, which was also Azusa's. Mizuki is like Min, Azusa's dog. Chapter 4. A soft egg porridge for a hard old man. When he woke up in the morning, his wife wasn't there. In the living room, a rolled omelette and a piece of grilled salt mackerel was waiting for him under a chilling film on the dining table. Miso soup was in a pot in the kitchen. After reheating them, Takiji Otsuka ate his breakfast alone. A faint sense of detergent drifted in through the wide open patio door from the laundry drying outside. He took a quick look. Another fine day. Come to think of it, he remembered the TV weather girl saying that the clear autumn weather would continue for a while. The woman, who was younger than his daughter, had said what perfect weather it was for going out, but he had no particular plans, so it didn't matter much to him one way or the other. Takiji finished his meal quickly and left the dishes to soak in the tub in the kitchen sink. He turned on the TV, listening while he read the paper. He didn't look at the screen until the morning soaps began. He got hooked on one of them. Somehow, the main character was a father, a joker with an over-sympathetic personality. beloved by everyone. Except Takiji. Something about the setup annoyed him. There were moments when the father seemed happy to be inconvenienced by his daughter's self-indulgent lifestyle instead of correcting her. Didn't he take any pride in being a father? Or a man? Should not he be ashamed of his failure as a parent to educate his own children properly? Even now, he was tossing off silly regret while his daughter yapped angrily at him. It was the sort of behavior that caused all the trouble in the first place. Damn it! Why do I let this show get me so worked up? Eh? Junko? He called out without thinking, then closed his mouth. His wife Junko wasn't there. He'd gone to her part-time job at the supermarket. The job was in the daily session, so morning shifts start early. She would come home in the afternoon, but then rush out again almost immediately, talking about the activities in her women's group. Evening was the only time they could be together face to face. The spacious living room was silent, but for the voice from the television. Takiji let out a little sigh. Why was he passing his day in such empathize? Takiji has worked continuously at his life at one company, at Outpart Factory, from college graduation to retirement. The mandatory retirement age was 60, but he had joined the company's replenishment programs and worked 5 extra years. It was right for a man to let his wife and child struggle through life. He had always been great in his work by the belief. He relinquished his personal days to the company as a matter of course, and devoted long hours to entertain clients. All household matter was addressed to his wife, Junko, including the upbringing of their only daughter, Nanao, but that was the natural division of labor between husband and wife, and nothing could be done about that. Men went out and earned a living, women took care of the house. That's just how it was. Junior colleagues at work would look at him and ask what era he was from. But thanks to his hard work, Junko had spent many decades as a homemaker. While Nano had been able to attend the college of her choice, he was also able to put together a modest nest egg and move them retirement home in an apartment building dedicated to seniors. Even better, the place was in Kitakyushu, the number one retirement destination for senior country life. Kitakyushu was nestled between the mountain and the sea, surrounded by the beauty of nature. Despite that, it had a well-maintained infrastructure, and the cost of living there was low. It was a terminal for the Shinkansen bullet train, and close enough to the large city of Hakata that it didn't feel like the remote countryside, or inconvenient in any way. It was an ideal town for Takiji, who had wanted to live quietly in a calm and convenient location after retirement. Mojiko, the area around the harbor, was particularly nice. The streets of the town were lined with buildings from the good old days, and beyond the particular townscape lay the clear ocean waters, and the seafood was delicious. It was a completely different atmosphere from Nagoya, where he had been born and raised, but he was sure they could do reasonably well in the place. He had every expectation of a frugal and tranquil life there, together with Junko. When he'd made the decision to move, he had no doubt that his second life would be the stuff of his dreams. So how, then, had it come to this? Takiji's eyes tracked the text in the newspaper as he talked. Well, from starter, Junko had changed dramatically. It seems right after they moved here. The Junko of the present was an entirely different person from the Junko who had quietly and faithfully cared for their home back then. Never pushy or presumptuous in the slightest way. It was impossible to imagine the old Junko taking a part-time job without consulting him, let alone her intense dedication to the activities of the building's ladies' association. She didn't even go to PTA meetings back then. Of course, that was particularly because Takiji didn't approve. It was unthinkable to him, for a woman caring for a home and family to just leave them behind and go out for drinks. But since they have moved here, Junko activity attends both part-time staff get-togethers at work and the cocktail with the building ladies. Up until recently, Takiji had been her top priority, but now she had made him into her house sister. What have you got to complain about? No, his daughter had said dismissively. She does all the homework before she goes out. She even cooks your meals. Nanao had married 3 years ago. She lived in Osaka, but perhaps because she had no children, she came to visit once a month. She spoke sharply to Takiji, who was harboring some resentment toward Junko. You've really been keeping mother on a lock and key. Let her be herself. Give her a little freedom. He didn't instead to impression his wife. He didn't remember ever forcing her to be a different person. He just acted appropriately for a working man associate, and he wanted Junko to do what was natural for a woman watching over her family and home. Was there anything wrong with that? But when he said that, Nano responded with a warning. Have you heard of greedy divorce? A man who neglects his family's needs gets thrown away, father. Takiji laughed enough a nonsense, but Junko didn't laugh. She just apologetically said, let me do as I like. Huh, they're both making fun of me, he thought. It's not like I've been oppressing Junko all this time. I took us all on family trip 5 years. She had the clothes she wanted, visit a beautiful glamour, no limit. She had plenty of freedoms. Why do they have to make me out to be the bad guy? Takeji had more to say, but realizing that Nana was just going to take his wife's side, he swallowed his word. Instead, he said, it's fine, do as you like. I guess if I can have a second life, then you can too. I can understand that much, at least. But if he were being honest, he didn't understand. Every morning there was a fresh whirlpool of dissatisfaction in his chest. How was he to find outlet for those feelings? Maybe I'll go get a drink of coffee or something. When he was alone, in the room with nobody there, he quickly started to feel depressed. Takaji left the house, taking nothing with him but his wallet.